Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the live. Now, are you sending emails to your seller leads but getting few replies? Tune in for the next 10 minutes and I will walk you through the email framework we use to follow up with seller leads for our UK estate agent clients, which you can tailor for valuation tool leads, sales guide leads, and more. And as a thank you for watching, I'm making this document available for any estate agent who wants it. Drop me a comment below and I will message it over for you. Now, for those of you who may have seen me but don't know who I am, my name is Daniel Barrows, and I'm building, at the moment, the best follow-up system for independent estate agents across the UK, called Seller Engine. Now, if you're tired of generic messages promoting your estate agency, then you'll want to watch further, as we'll show you exactly how to bring in new business, one video at a time, just like this one. So, I have been looking at, the first contact kind of email framework, where when estate agents reach out to their leads for the first time, the leads that they have paid for, then you're going to want the best emails possible so you can actually start speaking to more people and close more deals, right? So I had recently created this document for an estate agent who was interested in how he could set up his own emails to reach the leads that he was bringing in, and I wanted to share it with you directly. Now let me see how I can share my screen and show you. One moment, and I will be right with you. So share screen, first contact email framework, and here we are. So hope you can see this. This is the first contact email framework that I've been working on, and I just wanted to walk it through with you so you can actually use this for your own emails, and you can ask for this document later on, and you can even send me a message and I will help you tailor it for your estate agency and the leads that you are bringing in. Now, obviously, the first point of contact you have with your leads is going to be the most important, because that's going to set the tone for whether you have a good conversation or whether you need to follow up for over a long period, or whether they're just not interested and you should use your time somewhere else. Now, the same principles and the same formula, you can use these to contact any kinds of leads, because there are different ones. You've got your instant valuation tools, you have got your seller's guides, you have got your traditional methods of marketing, such as sending out letters, sending out leaflets, and so on, and you also have more direct marketing to bring in appointments. Some estate agencies use those to directly book. Now, you just want to remember that this context is very important. Someone who, for example, has been referred to your estate agency by a friend will be completely different than a valuation tool leads, and your email, especially your first one, needs to reflect this. Now, let's begin. For us, the goal of the first contact email is always to start a conversation, because once you have a conversation, you can lead into booking an appointment from there. You can lead into talking about what their home is worth, what they're actually looking to do, but without that first conversation, you're going to find it very difficult to be able to book an appointment and move forward. So that's why the first objective, whenever you have a lead, is to start a conversation. Now, I'm going to walk you through the steps that I use to create each email, especially and specifically for this document, the first contact email. And at the end, we're actually going to go through, I'm going to copy this and work through how you can write out your own, because Google Docs has a handy little email template that you can use. So the first step, who is the recipient? Are your leads coming from a Zoopla valuation? For example, are they coming from a valuation tool that you have paid for, or are they from like a seller's guide that you have shared? Because there is no one size fits all approach, right? It's not going to be an email that's going to work for every kind of lead. Instead, you want to relate your email to what has happened to your lead in the past 5 minutes. For example, if you get your leads from Zoopla or Rightmove, it's likely that for the past 5 minutes, your lead has been contacted several times by your competition already. Because you're sharing that lead, right? They've gone on the platform, you're getting leads that are actually shared with all the estate agents that are competing. You want to keep this competition in mind, because you're not in a market of one in these cases. If you're using your own valuation tool, where you might get less leads than if you were using Rightmove, but on the other hand, your valuation tool might be a bit more precise, and you're the only person contacting them, so you can reflect that in your email. And then if you're using something such as a seller's guide, that would be a more different approach where you want to add more value. But for here, valuation tool leads, usually they have no direct desire to work with an estate agent up front, because otherwise, if someone wanted to work with you up front, they'd be calling you and saying, "Can I work with you to list my property?" And that happens every so often. If they're using an instant valuation tool, it's that they want to know more information that is beneficial to them about the value of their property, but they don't want to speak directly with an estate agent just yet. So, knowing this particular information, you will want to write an email with a softer approach. Now, let's go to the subject line. Now, there are a couple different ways you can write a subject line. You can go into email trainings for that. But one thing I would suggest you do is to test different subject lines, because that will affect your open rates, and it will affect how many people actually get to see the contents of your email. So, test a few of those. You can use a few basic ones if your email is going to stand out, if you're going to offer more value, for example, than other estate agents, then make sure you flag that in the title of the email. But make sure it's referring to the instant valuation if you've given them an instant valuation. Make sure it's referring to the seller's guide if you have sent them one. Just make sure they know who you are while you're sending them an email from the title of it. Now, about automating these emails, it's actually quite easy to do. You can often use your CRM or your email sending platform to automate these emails and add in people's names, their property addresses, and the data from the instant valuation if you just connect it up. And if you automate these emails, obviously you'll get more time back and you'll get better results because they get sent out immediately, right? So you'll want to set up that kind of title. And then the third step is reintroducing yourself in the email, as I like to call it. Because when you're sending an email to one of your leads, you want to explain in the email the reason you have their contact details and why you're contacting them. Because not everyone sees that when you've given them a valuation and that you also is the same person that is sending them an email. You'll want to explain who you are and why you're emailing so that they have full context as to why you're emailing and why they should pay attention. If your lead, for example, has come from a Zoopla valuation, then you'll want to explain in the email that you're emailing them because they have filled in their information into the Zoopla valuation to value their property. I've got an example here. This is Bob from Bob's Estate Agents in London. I'm emailing you back from the online valuation you requested from Zoopla, the property search website for your property, First London Road. Now, the fourth step that I always work through with my estate agent clients is to add value when they're speaking to their leads. One thing we must always remember when speaking with leads is that they will never agree to something that does not benefit them. What this means is we need to add a bit more value to the conversation than, can I value your house and see how much it's worth to see if I can sell it? Because that's framed in your benefit. So what we want to do is frame this email entirely towards the benefit of the recipient, aka the lead. For example, it's widely known among estate agents that a Zoopla valuation may be wildly inaccurate to the actual value of someone's home. The trouble is that many sellers won't know this. They just won't, because they're not in property all the time. You are and they're not, and Zoopla's offering this free valuation tool, and they're just going to take them up on it. So in this email, what you can do is you can cross that gap and you can let them know the inaccuracies of Zoopla valuations and how you can offer them a much more accurate one. So here is the template that I have come up with for this email case. Continuing on from the last example, I wanted to let you know about the inaccuracies in many Zoopla valuations that you've received that you may not be aware of. For example, on the Zoopla website, they explain that any unique features in your home, renovations, or the condition of your property will not be accounted for in their valuations. Would it be useful for you to know the exact value of your home in today's market? If you're thinking of selling, then we can also analyze how to get the best price and what the process would be. Is this something you would like to know more about? After that, you simply want to close the email. You'll want to end the email with a question in most cases, so they can come back to you and therefore start a conversation, which is the goal. And I have the completed example here below. So to contact email, what I've done is I have filled this in how we would use in our lead follow-up software, which is called Seller Engine, and I'm currently helping estate agents to use that to follow up with their own leads. You can ask me about that if you're curious. But I've actually set it up so whenever someone gets like a lead or from an instant valuation tool or from a seller's guide, they can just get this email through straight away and start that as their first point of contact. And of course, if you're using an email sending software, I really recommend doing that because it's going to show you how many people have opened the email, how many people have replied to the email, how many people haven't even seen it. And this will allow you to test and tweak and get the best email possible. And there you go. Now, what we could do is I will create an email draft here. So contact.email. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check the comments quick and see if anyone else has an email that they would like to be written out. For example, if you want to send an email out to your seller's guide leads when they've just first started, we can go through the steps together and then just see what it would look like, and you can take that away. Let me check the comments to see, and if not, you can just drop a comment below afterwards. I'll check in, and if you're interested in this, you can just comment below and I'll help you tailor it in Messenger. Let me check comments one moment. It would seem that can't quite see any comments. So in that case, we're going to wrap things up here. But again, if you have a request for a particular kind of email framework, if you want to do SMS, you can also do that. I'm working on that for a few streams later on, and you'll see that later on. But if you have a request for your leads, if you're getting in leads right now and you want to bring them in for a conversation, then this is how you can do that. All right, cheerio.